Hello, we are looking at our second lesson on solving equations today. Before we start this second lesson, this is the learning check answers from the previous lesson. So please pause the video and check those solutions. I have checked them already and thank you for all the work that you've sent to me. Okay, so today's lesson, solving equations lesson 2. We're going to look at two-step equations. So we're going to look at equations where you've got multiplication and addition, that's why it's called a two-step equation. So how do I find my solution for x? The first thing I need to do is to do the opposite of adding 2 to both sides of my equation. Now, last lesson we looked at inverses and you wrote these key facts into your book. Yeah, so just go back to your book or write this out again if you didn't do it last lesson. So the opposite of adding 2 is to take away 2. So the first thing I'm going to do is take away 2 from both sides of the equation. And the reason I'm doing that is because the inverse of add 2 is to take away 2. And what that means is that the add 2 and the minus 2 cancel each other out to get 0. So the 2 and the minus 2 cancel each other out, so I'm just left with 3x on this side of the equation. And when I'm solving equations, whatever I do to one side of the equation, I must do to the other side of the equation. It's like a balance. So here, 14 take away 2 is 12. And now we've got ourselves to a one-step equation like we did last lesson. So this means 3 times x, and the opposite of multiplying is dividing. So we have to divide both sides of the equation by 3. And the reason we do that is because times 3 and divide by 3 cancel each other out. So I'm left with x here, and 12 divided by 3 is 4. So let's just double check that answer. Let's put that back, substitute that back into my first equation. So 3 times 4 is 12, plus 2 is 14, so it works. Right, let's have a go at one more example. This question here. Okay. So I think to myself, what's the inverse function of take away 3? Well, the inverse function of take away 3 is to add 3. Add 3 and minus 3 cancel each other out. So I'm just left with 5y on the left-hand side of the equation. And using your number line, start at -8, go up 3, I end up at -5. Okay, now what should I do to both sides of the equation? I just want to be left with y here. Well, this is times by 5. The opposite of timesing by 5 is to divide by 5. So I have to do the same on the other side of the equation. -5 divided by 5 is -1. Okay, so it's getting very difficult now, year 10. 2 difficult examples there. Okay, so I'd like you, before I give you your learning check, okay, I'd like you to try each of these questions, please. Okay, and then I'm going to go through the answers. Okay, so pause the video and have a go at those 4 questions. Okay, so the first one. I'm going to first of all add 2 to both sides of the equation. Then I'm going to divide both sides of the equation by 4. So my answer is x equals 4. Okay, this one. I'm going to, first of all, take away 4 from both sides of the equation. And then I'm going to divide both sides by 3. Okay, this one. I'm going to add 2 to both sides of the equation. Minus 17, add 2. And then I'm going to divide by 5. Okay, this last one. I'm going to add 5 to both sides of the equation. Minus 3 add 5 is 2. And I'm going to divide both sides by 2. So I added 5, I divided by 2. Okay, if you're really having problems with this, please email me and I will try and help you a bit more. Okay, now just similarly, if you actually, I think, yeah, I'm going to go through a couple more examples on division now. Okay, so if you had this question here, for example, okay, exactly the same process for what I've just did if this was multiplication. This is now dividing. So what do I do first of all? I'm going to take away 4 from both sides of the equation. Subtract 4. So minus 4 and add 4 will cancel each other out. So I'm left with p divided by 2. 6 take away 4 is 2. This is what we did last lesson. The opposite of dividing by 2 is 2 times by 2. So p equals 2 times 2 is 4. Let's just double check that. Let's put 4 back into here. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 2 add 4 is 6. So it works. Right, so I want you to have a go at doing one question now, please. I'd like you to have a go at doing this question here, just this one. Okay, so step 1, you're going to add 3 to both sides of the equation, because the opposite of taking away 3 is to add 3. They cancel each other out. And the opposite of dividing by 5 is to times by 5. So 7 times 5 is 35. And there's your answer. Okay, so now here's your learning check. There are 6 questions to have a go at doing. You must write them down. Okay, this is an 8 here, in case you can't read that. You must write them down. You must show the method like I have shown. Okay, these 2 are challenge questions because they involve negative numbers. So this is your work you must do, and this is your optional extra work. So pause the video, have a go at doing these 4 compulsory questions and these 2 optional extra challenge questions.